All right, guys, we've all seen these before. If you haven't, you're about to have a lot of fun with them. This is an MV4 ceiling diffuser with grill. A lot of them come with this key in the middle. A lot of them don't have them anymore, but that just opens and closes this damper on the inside. Almost always these get really dirty, really bad. So yeah, let's get into all taking this apart and putting it back together, because these things are kind of a pain. They typically have the 4 screws right around the edges here. We do not, they're almost always Phillips. We do not use our 1/4 inch when we put them back in, because it's too big and ends up tearing up these sides and it kind of ruins the grill. So you got to use the original screws or bring new Phillips if you really want to. But those screws attach to these little clips. Typically they should each have 4. A lot of times they're either missing because they're a pain, or they're just up around in the ceiling and you can't really find it. But this is what this looks like when you're going to take it down. Normally you don't get to see this view because it's in the ceiling. You kind of loosen this up and then that turns. Sometimes it doesn't turn and it just stays like this, and then when you take the screw out, it just lays in the ceiling there, and that's why you got to like reach around with your hand. So we got 1 screw, 1 clip. Let's do the other ones. Two screws, 2 clips. Three screws, 3 clips. All right, so then you're on your last screw. Obviously, this could fall because the way we have it. Tommy, can you come help me here?
Yeah,
normally you're not gonna deal with this problem because it's attached with a flex to here and it's in the ceiling. So we got that. Off here. All right, and then we got all of our screws and all of our clips. All right, so then we see this, and a lot of times this is screwed into the ceiling, a lot of times it's not. So this may just like hang down and be held by the flex, kind of like that. And this is where I'm saying you would reach around this hole to try and find the clips if you're missing any of them. But another important thing is that when we wash these, when we power wash this grill, we got to take this out as well, because you got this damper in here that opens and closes, and this is a collection point for growth, dirt, whatever you want. So that has to come down as well. Yeah, a lot of times with these, you can power wash them and then you pick it up with your glove and you wipe stuff off. The power washer doesn't always get this plastic really, really clean. So a lot of times you might end up wiping them anyways after you wash them. It's inconvenient, and that's why we add time when we see these grills, because they're always a pain. Yeah. So we washed our grills, hand wiped it, because these get very, very dirty. It's very easy for mold to grow on these. I don't know what makes them so porous, but it's very, very common when these come down that they're very, very bad pieces. All right, well, let's put it back up. So we would have to have a zip tie because we're going to reattach our flex. If this was screwed into the ceiling, we'll screw it right back where it was, which if that's the case, you probably should have marked this so that you know which way it's facing. So this works. You kind of would bring this down and you're putting the screw through here, through your hole. So you want to put this in, this screw in. And if you want to come in, look, you're trying to screw through the clip into this piece of the diffuser up here, which is hard to do because when you're on a ladder and you're trying to balance and do all the things. But there, that's perfect. So then you want it as high up as it can go. That's very important.
Yeah,
because
you want this clip to start on this side. You don't want this clip to be in the middle when you get it on. You
Exactly.
want it to be at the top so you can get as tight as possible.
Because when it's all the way down here and you put it up in the drywall and I try to tighten my screw, it's going to be tightening, but that clip's not opening. And we all know why that clip opening is important. So that's why a lot of times the grill is sagging at one point. All right, so we got one in. That's good. Let's go do another one. And again, this is still hanging down by the flex. So you kind of have some, I mean, it would probably be best since you're taking this down to just do it before you attach the flex.
Get them all set up.
Because that would be a lot easier. But we'll do it the hard way.
Video purposes.
All right, we got another one there, so we're good. Drop your screw on the ladder. You got to go get it. That's never fun.
Never fun.
All right, again.
Which MV4s are never fun.
Line this up here. You're trying to screw into this plastic piece because one, that plastic piece holds the screw where it's supposed to go so it's not moving all around. And then you can just screw and this will open like it's supposed to, which we're going to see in just a minute. So we're on our last screw right here. One last time. Get this in here. Get as high up as possible. Screw into this piece. Okay, now we're set up for success. So you would theoretically attach this to your flex, whatever size that was. You're going to try and make sure this is straight looking down before you tighten. But then you want to hold this all the way up. You don't want to be holding this down here and start screwing. You have to hold it all the way up because look what happens. These clips are all above the drywall, and sometimes there's insulation in there too. So you want these as high as possible. So we have a little extra space, but when you're dealing with thicker drywall or insulation around, you want all the space you can get. And then just slowly, you want to tighten these. And see how that pops out? Slowly, slowly. Feel that start to slow down? Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's try another one.
That looks pretty.
Slowly, slowly. See how it pulls it down? There we go. That's tight right there. Okay, I can't see this one. Yep, that looks pretty good right there. These do not take much. You don't got to be in there like full gun anything. I mean, just light trigger finger. And yeah, that's pretty good. That looks pretty tight. And look.
Show them this. There's no crack.
Yeah, see how it's flush all the way around? And then you might need to hand wipe. Some of those plastic shavings come out. But that's why MV4s aren't fun, because then you got to go do 13 more of those.
On a ladder.
On a ladder, where you can't see them. You're probably missing a clip.
And you don't get the back view of this either.
Yeah, you don't get
from down there only.
Absolutely.
Because this would be above the ceiling, essentially.
Yeah, all right. Can you hold it a little higher? All right, hold that right there. We're going to do this all one more time.
JK.
Yeah, that's
I think that's it.